Hello, amateurs, and welcome back to our 6Nations series. And I've got a very special guest with me today. He played for the Cardiff Blues and the Ospreys, and he's coached the Scarlets and the Dragons. It's Mr. Dai Flanagan. There he is.
How are you going? Pleased
Very
to be on.
good. Yeah, great. Welcome to the show, Dai. Thanks very much for coming on. And in this episode, we're going to be taking a deep look at the Welsh team and how they're shaping up for the upcoming Six Nations. So let's just take a little sort of stroll backwards. Where are they at the moment? Talk to me a little bit about their last 12 months and what kind of shape they're in right now.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a transition period, aren't we? If you think of the first time Warren was over here, how super successful we were as a nation, probably the envy of a lot of rugby nations, looking from outside, going, what are Wales doing? To really now trying to rebuild to get back to that place. Obviously, we're a nation a little bit low on confidence, just with our results and stuff. But what I do like is the amount of experience a lot of our youngsters have had getting to this point now, and something we can really look forward to the Six Nations, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned their sort of transition, and there's actually been a fair bit of transition in the last week in the coaching setup. What do you make of some of those changes, and can you go into a bit more detail about them maybe?
Yeah, I only read it last night, so I was unaware of the changes until I read it. It's a shame. Alex is a top human. I really enjoyed my time when he came in with us at the Dragons, and there'll be logic behind it, I'm sure, both ends, and hopefully it's done for the best reason for the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. I should sort of just say that's Alex King out as the attack coach, and Rob Howley is going to be taking over. Also in is Adam Jones as scrum coach from Quins, just on a sabbatical, not a sabbatical, a kind of a temporary thing. And Andy McCann as well in the backroom staff as a human performance specialist is what his role is. So, but just, you've obviously got a lot of experience in coaching, Dai. But like, how disruptive could that be so close to the tournament?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've read that Alex wasn't in all last week, so I'm pretty sure that it was explained to the group when they arrived, the changes. Adam, what a super personality first and foremost to bring into the group, and then also his coaching credentials and what he's done with Harlequins and as a player, the amount of confidence he will breed to our front row forwards in our nation to go out and excel is superb. And I've spent some time with Andy many years ago as well, and he's very experienced. He's worked with a lot of senior players, and I'm sure he'll be great for the group. But they're bringing in two quality people. It'll only enhance the product on the field, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Andy McCann, what kind of things will he be working on sort of day to day? How would he go about his work?
Probably a lot of like positive reinforcement, I'm pretty sure, with the group. Like I said, we're a bit low on confidence and how we reinforce what we do well, and thinking positively towards games, having preparation, not just physically but mentally, going into these test matches that we're going to Stade Francais on a Friday night, Stade de France, sorry, and it's going to be 90,000 people there, and your mind needs to be right to go out and excel. And I'm sure he'll put that program in place. He'll probably have a lot of mini group meetings, some individual meetings, and then I'm sure he'll deliver to the team at some stage as well about what's coming and how to prepare for it and be the best version of themselves individually, so collectively we can succeed.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go into the squad now. There's some big players back into this squad that weren't there during the autumn. People like Adams in the back three, Toby Faletau, Duff Jenkins returning, and Liam Williams as well. There's a huge amount of experience in those players. What do you think them coming back will mean to this squad?
Well, like I said at the start, with our youngsters having the experience going through the autumn, and maybe you said before camera, maybe, but we've given a lot of youngsters experience. Now we're adding in some really top quality players who are built for international rugby. You look at Liam Williams, he's played his best rugby he's ever played for Wales. Toby Faletau. Let's not mention you've got a fully fit Aaron Wainwright back in now. He's played a lot more rugby for the Dragons. He hadn't played before the autumn, so he's ready to go. It's a talented group. We've had some good players not make the squad, and there's reason behind that because of the depth we now are starting to create through the last 12 months.
Yeah, I've got to say, when I look through the squad today, there's been a lot of talk about the Wales just don't have the players anymore. But I look through that squad list, and there is a lot of good players in there, and more than enough to put out a very capable team. Just a quick word for some of the uncapped players as well. Dan Edwards and Ellis Meir coming to the squad. How do you rate them?
Dan's been very, very good for the Ospreys for 12 months. They've taken their time with his development. They've managed his game time. Toby Booth's done a good job bringing him through there. Managed his game time with Owen Williams, and Jack Walsh has played a bit of 10. And you can see the last couple of weeks leading into this, he's starting to really perform at the top level. What he is, he's a threat to the line. He's a rugby player first and foremost before 10, and that'll keep teams honest. You know, he's nailed a lot of drop goals to win games as well, so you can see mentally he's quite tough. And I'm excited to see him go. I'm excited to see Ben Thomas potentially play at 10. You know, a fantastic rugby player again. He done really well in Australia for us in the summer, so we've got two quality operators there.
Yeah, absolutely. And some players that have missed out, people like Rio Dyer, Cam Winnett, Max Llewellyn, Gareth Anscombe and Dowie Loke through injury. There's, again, through the last 12 months, there's some players there that have been given a chance and I thought had really started to perform well in the shirt and haven't been selected, which I found a little bit strange. Have you got any more thoughts around those players?
No, it's the coach's choice, isn't it? You know, having been a coach and selected teams, you pick what you believe is the best for there and then. And what I would say about all them individuals, Gloucester played today. Max and Gareth are very good. They've obviously looked at it as an opportunity to go out and impress playing again. I watched Cam Winnett play tonight against the Sharks. He's very, very good, you know, and that's how they've got to react. These players, I'm sure they would have wanted to be selected. Some of them may expected to be selected, but the only thing they can control is their day-to-day actions, and they've gone away. And the ones I've seen so far have done that well, and that's what I'm talking about, the depth. You know, the Scarlets beat Edinburgh. Ospreys beat Benetton last night. There's depth here.
Yeah, and that Benetton team's a good side as well. Now onto the captaincy, and Jack Morgan's retained that from the autumn. Do you think maybe there was a question mark whether Daft Jenkins would get it back or not? And how do you rate Jack as a captain?
I had Jack from the age of 16 down in West Wales, and he's a natural born leader, Jack. If I'm being brutally honest, I don't know Dav that well. I've come across him, and he's a top guy, and I always have a conversation with him. But what I know about Jack, he leads by example. Everyone follows him. He doesn't ask anyone to do something he's not willing to do. You know, he's an all-round baller, Jack, isn't he? He can play in a wide channel. He's tough as all boots when it comes to the breakdown. And he'll lead from the front. You'll see him at the front, same as how Derry led. And I'm really pleased for Jack. He's got the captaincy. I was a bit surprised when he didn't have it when Dav had it over him last time. So it's in Jack's hands now to keep and lead us.
Yeah, I love the way you really sort of warmed up then when you started talking about him. Like I see there's a lot of kind of affection there from somebody that you've coached from a young age.
That's right, and just to see his development first and foremost as a rugby player, you see it on the pitch. I'm sure we were sad at the Scarlets when we were there to see him leave because we knew what he was going to turn into, and he's done that. But secondly, as a person, you won't meet a better man than Jack Morgan. And if you pass him in the street, he'll go stop and give people time, and he's the typical Welshman you describe.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, that's great stuff. Now then, let's move on to some of the technical, tactical type of stuff, Dai. How do you think Wales are going to set up coming into this tournament? Do you think there's going to be many changes from how they've played over the last 12 months? How do you see them going?
I think with the ball carriers we have now, with some people like Wainwright, Faletau, you know, the midfielder like Eddie James has come through really well. We need to evolve with the game. If you look at modern rugby now, you look at the French teams, they're trying to limit rucks because every time there's a ruck, the game slows down. So we have the ability in our squad to do that. We will be smart. You know, like I said, we're not a confident group at the moment, so we need to play really smart, and there'll be a lot of expectation on our halfbacks to control where and when we play the rugby. But, you know, Thomas Williams is playing some of the best rugby of his life. Give him the reins, and I'm sure Warren and Rob know that. Allow him to be Thomas that we're seeing. And I'm excited. I'm sure we'll see a new Welsh way. Like I said, we need to get our ball carriers on the ball. We need to win the collisions. That's the game of rugby these days. You watch Toulouse, you watch Bordeaux. We win the collisions, they keep momentum going. It's important we find a way to do that.
Absolutely. And I think over the last 12 months, certainly there's been times in games where you've seen the attack function well. There's been times in games where you've seen the defense function really well as well, but it's been glimpses. How as a team, do they sort of broaden that out from being just glimpses or periods in a game to getting an 80-minute performance?
it comes down to consistency and time together, doesn't it? And people can say what they want about this 25 cap rule, this 60 cap rule. You look at this week, for example, how many players are left in Wales to train together, to how many players have had to go out and play for their clubs. In France, they don't have that issue now. England have taken a camp away to Spain. I think Ireland have gone to Portugal together. So we need that time together so we can be as cohesive as possible. And there's a lot of pressure on Warren and Rob to get the connection in the group, to get them playing for each other on the badge, because then that gives that consistency through performance. And once they find, they'll take a moment, like a penny drop moment, you know, where people just look around and go, oh, we're here now. And me personally, I would like to see it soon, because then it'll give us the run. You always need to start well in the Six Nations to have any hope.
Yeah. And, you know, you've played, I've played. I suspect everybody that's listening to this podcast has played. And you know that moment, like, you know, that penny drop moment when as a team, things just start going better for you. And you can see that you're heading in the right direction. Just a little bit more on the preparation stuff, because we've obviously just watched some games today. And for example, you've got Duff Jenkins playing against Liam Williams at Sadley Park. And especially this week, with it just being a 6-day turnaround, like, that's a huge, huge issue, I think, for Wales in terms of their preparation. How would you work around that? What kind of tactics would you employ to lessen that impact?
It's tough, isn't it? Like I said, the XL boys, the non-in Wales playing contracted boys, would have only been in Monday, Tuesday this week, maybe Wednesday, and then back to their clubs. And then they've got to train Monday, but they play Friday. So it's a real short straw Wales have been drawn, unfortunately. What I would do, and I know Warren will be similar, and Rob, is just simplify things. Make the game as simple as possible. Oops. So that the boys don't have too much learning in a week. They don't have to think too much about stuff outside of what they can control. We may not take too many risks in this first game, but we can get small wins along the way that can then lead through the tournament.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, now flipping it around a little bit, if you're looking at this Welsh squad and you're an opposition coach, what are you going for, Dai? How do you think you're going to take them out?
Yeah, I often think like that. I think with a low on confidence group, I foresee teams going to the corner a lot more rather than taking 3 points. Teams will try and go early against us to dent us, to make us think, oh, we're back to where we were in the autumn last Six Nations. And if I was coaching a team against a team like Wales who are low on confidence, I'd definitely be starting early and trying to keep that scoreboard ticking with big numbers, 5s and 7s more than 3s. You know, people will always question Wales' physicality. We're not blessed with big men, but what we do is fight for each other better than any other nation. So I'm sure, having watched previously, the last time we played with South Africa, we're physically pretty good. So teams may try and go that route and go route one against us.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Are there any other sort of players or tactics or facets or anything that we haven't mentioned yet that you think might play an important role in this Six Nations for Wales?
I think the physicality of our backs is critical. Bringing Liam back, who can slow rucks down in a wide channel. Bringing Josh Adams back. You see what he's done for Cardiff since he's been back defensively, how he can slow. And I believe there'll be a bigger emphasis on Wales fighting hard at the breakdown, which will feed into what we're really good at, again, is competing on the 50-50s. But I also think there'll be a new element to our attack, because Ben and Dan are new, fresh outside offs. You know, you've got Eddie James in the squad. Of course, Joe Roberts from the age of 16 coming through, and he's a fantastic athlete, and hopefully he can get some game time in the Six Nations and show the ability he has. So there's lots to be optimistic about. We just need to make sure we start well.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing that's happening in this tournament is that the roof is going to be shut. I think that's confirmed, isn't it, for Wales's home fixtures, which is a change in policy. Obviously Wales want that, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. Talk to me about the benefit of that for the Welsh team.
I think there's a myth behind the roof being shut. From my experience being in there, having played in there a few times at semi-professional level in cup finals, but also coaching in there at certain periods. When that roof's shut, the ball can get very wet. And sometimes it doesn't feed into the most expansive open game. And you'll see players dropping balls. You think, oh, I should catch that. Because for whatever reason, the grass gets really dewy. The ball's constantly wet. So what it does do, it guarantees a certain level of conditions. So you're not having the wild storms we're having now and the torrential downpours. But it's also an understanding of what it might take to keep the ball dry, to keep the game open. But you will see drop passes and the crowd, people are watching and go, how's he dropped that? It slipped through his hand. Whereas there's a myth behind it. It does get extremely wet, the ball, at certain points.
Right. Okay. Let's look forward to this coming Friday night. Wales are away in Paris for the opening game. What do you want? Dai, do you want a win or do you want a performance or a combination? What's the most important thing for you this Friday?
I think I'm quite a level-headed human, and I think small wins would be a massive step forward for us. So holding our own in the scrum, being able to compete the set piece, suddenly you're going, wow, because if you can compete with France, you can compete with anyone in the Six Nations. Showing a new dynamic to some of our getting our ball carriers on the ball, you go, oh wow, when we play another team, it might not be France, we can do this. Like I said, slowing the French down. It's pretty scary watching Toulouse and Bordeaux on the last weekend, thinking we got to play all them in 12 days time. But there's massive opportunity in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is. Like it's, I'm just trying to put myself in those players' shoes. It would just be so exciting to go there and play against those players. I mean, what a challenge.
Massively, and if you can frustrate them, they'll force issues, they'll give you turnover, they'll keep you in the game. I know we've always been really difficult to beat as a nation. For as long as rugby's been professional, Wales have always been a difficult team to beat. And if we can take that sort of mantra in, along with then a little bit more creativity, a little bit more wins at certain areas, we'll scrape through a lot of games, which will build confidence, which will build belief, and then you'll see a new dynamic to our game in Wales. But it is, I think, the foundation of any Welsh team is always make yourselves really tough to beat. And I think when Sean Edwards was in our country, and I know Mike Forshaw was an excellent defence coach as well, they're tough guys who want to breed that with us.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, widening out a little bit further, how do you see the tournament going for Wales? How many wins do you think they will get, and what do you sort of define as success for Wales in this tournament?
Again, having someone who's been in a pro environment, you're always judged by outcome. So we need to win a few games, a game here or there. We need to get a win on the board to build confidence. Ideally, we get that early in the tournament, and then anything can happen. I think it's, like I said, it's small wins along the journey for us. We're going to blood, no doubt. Warren's going to blood more youngsters in this. He's going to give Dan time. Dan has 0 caps, so we have to be patient with it. But again, if we can get small wins on the way, where could we end up? But as a realistic target, is a couple of wins in this tournament. But along the way, massive success is seeing improvement, and I'm excited to see us get there.
Yeah, good. Me too, because I think this Welsh team has been written off by a lot of people, and I don't see it quite that way. It's got a lot of work to do, obviously, but I think there's a lot of promise there.
That's it. And anytime you've got a fixture list where you go to Stade de France, we do pretty well out there usually. So we're going to be in for a fight, and I'm sure our Welsh boys will stand up for it. But also, you see England at home. That's a special Six Nations whenever you see England at home, isn't it? So why can't we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's brilliant. What a great way to bring this to a close. Okay, that's what we think. But what do you think at home? Is there any key points that we've missed that you think will play an important role for Wales in this championship? Any players you think will have a big influence that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll join you there for a friendly conversation. Give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. If you don't mind, it helps other people find it. It just leaves me to say, Dai, thanks so much for your time and incredible insight today.
No problem at all. Enjoyed it.
Good man. Okay, and for you at home, you can subscribe there. You can watch that one next, and do not forget to get out and play.